Okay. I am pulling out of the driveway for day one of A Week Away, the TV show. We filmed the movie in September of 19. It came out March of 21. And now in April of 25.
Yeah. Oh, we're taking from the top. We'll frame up.
We're making the show. I have so many thoughts. But the only one that I'm thinking about right now and leading with, quite frankly, is I'm just grateful. Yeah. Here we go.
You will see, yeah. You're never gonna be the same again. The same again.
You will see, yeah.
My name is Alan Powell. I'm the creator, director, showrunner, and writer of A Week Away. When did I come up with A Week Away? I had 2 kids. I have 6 now, so it was a long time ago, but I only had 2. I might have had 3, but I can't remember. Maybe the third one was a little baby. But I remember my oldest 2, who might have been like 4 and 2, were watching High School Musical. And I remember leaving the house, getting in my car, and I was driving to the studio. I was doing music at the time with a band called Anthem Lights, and I was driving to the studio. And I remember sitting in the car, and before I had turned the car on, and before I put it in drive, I just thought, man, there should be a Christian version of that. I think it would do really well.
We wrote the movie Church Camp, which became A Week Away, that landed on Netflix. And then several years later, Alan called me and was like, hey, I want to make another movie, the sequel to A Week Away. And then that ended up turning into a TV show.
It's been an incredible journey, transitioning from film to television. I had never done TV before, so there was a little bit of a learning curve for me, but it was an incredible experience across the board.
You will see, yeah. I'm never gonna be one of them.
Cozy Zulsdorf is one of the most aggravatingly talented people I've ever had the pleasure of working with and truthfully knowing. Also just a very kind, loving human who plays Lenny for us in front of the camera. She ended up being one of the co-writers with us on all the screenplays for the show. And she ended up co-writing almost all of the music and doing 100% of the writing on some of the music, because sometimes she sends you a song and you're like, well, I don't want to change anything, so I guess that's the song now. That's how Cozy works.
I met Alan in 2021. We met for lunch. We ate Chipotle together. And we actually ate in his home office.
I live here in Franklin, Tennessee now, and she had moved here, and we just got together as creatives and just kind of dreamed.
And we talked about acting and our passion for filmmaking, and I talked about my dreams of one day being a screenwriter, and Alan just kept me in the back of his mind, I guess, for the next couple of years, because after that, in 2023, I got the call to be a part of The Torch out of the blue. We knew we wanted to make the show with Angel, and their process is really unique. They ask you to create a proof of concept called a torch. It's supposed to communicate the main meaning of the show and the tone. You don't really have to tell the whole story. You just have to leave the audience going, now that's a show I would watch. And so we set out to make that in 2023, and that was what started the journey of A Week Away, the series.
You will see, yeah. I'm never gonna be one of them. One of them. You will see.
So we shoot The Torch, and Matt Martinez is our Max, and he's fantastic. I mean, unbelievably talented guy. Literally one of the best singers I've ever met, one of the best dancers anyone will ever meet, and a really, really great actor.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
We make the torch, goes really well, you know, passes, we get to go make this show, takes time, all this stuff. So it's a year and a half later, and we're coming back, we're like, let's go make this show.
So we walked into pre-production on the series under the assumption that we were gonna use all the same cast from The Torch, because The Torch had performed really well for Angel, everybody was happy with it, and we had a great time all working together, which is why it was such a bummer that as we were walking into the studio on the first day of writing in LA, Alan got the call that we lost our Max for a pretty good reason.
He left our torch and literally, I think the next week, booked playing the understudy for Michael Jackson on Broadway. So he did that for about a year, and then when it was time for us to come back and make the show, they saw what we saw, this unbelievably talented guy, and they offered him the lead. Like, no more understudy, like, be the guy. And the timing just didn't work out. It was very unfortunate for us, and we were very sad, but of course very excited for Matt. So right now, as we sit here and talk, he is MJ on Broadway as the main guy.
So we were all very much like, go with God, absolutely no hard feelings. And then our second thought was, what in the world are we gonna do?
Losing our lead was a huge blow to this production. Matt did such a good job for us, so we went into the next stage with a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence, but we weren't ready yet. There were a lot of angles, a lot of aspects of this production that just weren't ready to go. And we had to make a tough decision that was to push from a fall window when Matt was available to the spring. Alan was pretty devastated. I can understand, because you build your life around what you're gonna be doing for the next 5-6 months creatively, your vision, all of the things that you have to put into that period was now gone. It was the right choice, but it was a tough decision.
So we're 5-6 weeks out from shooting, maybe less. We've written some songs with Matt in mind, because he was our Max. We've written the pilot and maybe a couple of the episodes with Matt in mind, because he was our Max.
The first version of Max was a much darker, broodier, moody Max, because that's who Matt was, the original cast. And it worked really, really well. And he was just incredible, and we loved him.
The energy in the room just plummeted when we found out we lost him.
It's just one of those, it's just what we just talked about. Like, you take a second, the world spins, okay, I'm making a TV show in like 4 weeks, and I just lost my lead. Okay, cool.
We just knew, oh, this is gonna work. Lenny and Max, like it all felt so right. And then we just had a big question mark as to who Max was gonna be, and we were out of time to wait to write the songs.
Now I have to find somebody who is just as talented as one of the most talented people I've ever met. All right, cool. Let's do it. So you shake that off, and then for the next few days, you try to write in the studio, and at the same time chase down another Max.
Suddenly, we were just all pitching teen or early 20s guys that we knew.
It's not overstating when I say that when I lost Matt, really the first name that came to me was Antonio.
And actually, I was one of the people that recommended him too, because I just knew of him online. About 3 people at once told Alan he should look up Antonio Cipriano.
All right, here we go. My name is Antonio Cipriano. I was going on about 1.5 years of being unemployed, and I had just taken up a directing gig with my girlfriend. We were in the middle of Mamma Mia rehearsals in New Jersey when I get a random phone call from a random number, and I was like, I don't know, I'm in the middle of rehearsal, I'm not gonna take this. I get a voicemail from somebody. He says, hey, my name is Alan, in his cool voice.
Antonio, what's up, man? My name is Alan Powell. You don't know me, but
we have a few mutual friends, and
I stole your information from Paul Becker. Don't get mad at him.
I'd love to talk to you about this opportunity to join this musical TV show that we're working on.
Give me a call when you can. Love to chat with you.
I called him back and went back and forth a few times, and eventually
I sent him the torch we did with Matt. I sent him the original film.
I was blown away by what they had done.
I mean, I think he watched it right away. Like, he watched it that evening and maybe called me back the next day and said that he was he was interested.
I was just very excited to get to join the project, or at least have the opportunity.
It was either by the end of that day or by the end of the next day, I was like, I felt like we might be okay, because I had Antonio who was at least paying attention, and just something in me told me that this guy might be our guy.
So I ended up doing a chemistry read with Cozy, just the greatest scene partner you could ask for, especially over Zoom.
These are the chem reads, chemistry reads. So we have our Lenny. We need our Max. So obviously a big part of this show working is the chemistry between those two. There's something, when you have a character who is your actor, like we did in Cozy for Lenny, sometimes it just doesn't work. Like sometimes they read across from each other and it's just like, they're playing like brother and sister, or they're playing, I don't buy this, and there's no explanation for why. There's just no chemistry. So that's why you do chemistry reads. Better if you can do these in person, but that never happens anymore. So you get on Zoom and we go through a few of the scenes and they read opposite Lenny and we see who has the best chemistry. That's why they call it a chemistry read.
Every chemistry read I've ever done, it was so obvious who the right person was. Even though everybody was great, no one came close to whoever got chosen in terms of chemistry and that connection. So we'll see if that happens.
We'll see. All right, let's do this.
The chemistry read was great, if you don't count the about 30 minutes that I had to try and figure out how to get on.
Hey, Bev, at the end of the day, is Antonio going to need to create an Actors Access account? He's just texting me. He doesn't have one, so.
Yes, he will probably have to create one just to have the access.
He couldn't figure out how to get on the Zoom or the EcoCast is what it's called.
Because it wasn't on Zoom, it was like on, I don't even know what it was called. I was scrambling for about 30 minutes. I had to make an account, had to figure all that. I was on the phone with my mom, like, Mom, how do I do this? What's going on? And then ended up getting on.
I'm sorry about
No,
that.
you have nothing to be sorry about at all.
God, I'm so. I haven't used that Actors Access in a while, and I was just so confused. Sorry about that.
I didn't tell you up in the beginning because I had to make an account for this.
I was curious because some actors can't bounce back. Like some actors, like if something goes awry, they get all in their head and like the whole thing kind of takes this weird left turn. So honestly, on some level, I was interested to see how he responded to that not big deal, but maybe in his mind, big deal sort of speed bump.
Listen, I don't know how to tell you this, but
you're actually trespassing.
This is my part of the woods.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's my tree. That's my little shrub.
You're sitting on my bench.
Sturdy.
I know. Anyway, can you leave?
I remember writing the scene with Kaylee and Cozy, this moment where Lenny is saying, well, you're trespassing, and he's like, what? She's like, yeah, that's my tree, and that's my rock, and you're sitting on my bench, and I remember writing it, and I tested it, I was like, oh, it's nice. And I thought it was so funny. Nobody did it, everybody would just be like, oh, it's nice. And I remember before we started the sessions, I told my producing team, I said, the first actor who does it and tests the bench and is like, ooh, it's nice, and really goes there, I'm hiring that person. And we did the whole day, and Antonio was already great, but we get to that moment and he's the only guy that was like, it's nice. And I was like, this guy. I know it's such a small thing, but I do feel like there was a clue to who, in my opinion, there was a clue to who Max was in that interaction. I remember it was the last Max, we got done, and we were in pre-production, there's a lot to do, and I just turned to Steve, who's my other executive producer, and said, just give me Antonio, and we'll go make a show.
You know, Alan is a force of nature. He is relentless, both as a filmmaker and as a person. And it's one of his best qualities. It's one of the things I appreciate the most as his partner. So this one really paid off. You know, he would not stop talking about Antonio.
I called Antonio that night, offered him the part.
And I was like, awesome, when do you need me there? He's like, well, if it was my way, I'd have you here tomorrow. I was like, oh, great. I can just pack up my life and head over to Nashville for about 12 weeks and take on this new adventure. It was the best decision I could have made. So, it was great.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
That day, we felt like maybe our whole show wasn't gonna work because now that we had lost our Max, we really didn't have a leader of the cast. And now it's really hard to imagine this whole journey without Antonio.
I wish I could sing those words honestly. I wish that I could believe that somebody somewhere's got me.
And then we, my girlfriend and I packed up the car and drove 13 hours to Nashville from New York and unpacked in this hotel. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be my home for the next 12 weeks.
So I remember he got there and I met him and put him in a golf cart and we rode around the camp.
Got to meet everybody on the team. Alan took me on a golf cart, just like showed me around the entire camp.
Because, you know, he showed up and I handed him 7 episodes of the show, 90% of which he was talking for. Maybe that afternoon we got him behind the mic for the first time.
No, I can't hear a thing. You must be lost.
Because we didn't have any time to waste.
We had about 2 weeks of pre-production where I was in the studio recording, dancing, singing, acting, going through rehearsals and table reads and all that.
You know, table reads are always fun. They're fun because it's the first time the cast has really been in the same room together. And they're reading the words off the page that we've been reading without people for so long. So it brings everything to life in a way, but not all the way. Obviously, you're just sitting at a table. But in this case, we knew pretty quickly that this group was going to be special just based on sitting at a table, looking at each other and reading those lines.
I just want to say how grateful I am to be here in this capacity. It's been my dream, like, since I was a kid and directing American Girl doll movies with my friends. Like, every birthday, writing scripts and handing them out, like, to be a part of it in this capacity. And literally, sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I just go to bed imagining the first table read of something I've written. Thank you.
Antonio, if you guys don't know Antonio before, the guy that's sitting here, you've been missing out because I've been watching Antonio Cipriano YouTube videos for years. Yes, I knew you were talented, of course, but when I heard what you did on Amazing Grace, I knew we were gonna be okay. And then the Kim read was, you know, nuts. So I'm so grateful, man, that you're here to come and bring what you bring to this.
If you really think about it, like, to not know that the show exists and then, I don't know, a week later to be the lead of the show and then 2.5 weeks after that to be rolling cameras and then recording 16 songs and 12 dances. It was insane, but he was down, he jumped in, and he did a great job. Did a great job.
I cried out, but I guess you didn't hear the hour last believed. Amazing grace, how silent the sound. No, I can't hear a thing. Oh, you must be lost, 'cause I've been around. Tell me why you never showed up for me.
The theme of A Week Away, from top to bottom, has always been a song that we put in the first movie called Good Enough, which is that you are good enough and that you are valuable and that you deserve to be loved and that you don't have to work or do anything to have a place, that part is inherent and is there. I think my whole life is going to be about communicating that message. That's the thing that keeps me coming back to this story and this camp and, you know, these kids, is the opportunity to wrestle with that message through the lens of going through things, because we've all been through things. And I would be happy as a human and as a creative to come into that conversation and say, yes, I will spend hours and hours and hours and hours and weeks and months and years at this point to enter that conversation and say, yes, you are enough. And A Week Away is right now the loudest megaphone that I've been able to scream that into the world with.
Won't be one of them. You will see. You will see. If you open up, I know. You will see. I've been there, done that, tried. You will see. It'll be the best thing ever. You will see. You will see.
This is gonna suck. Guys, I'm stoked. Starting Wednesday, December the 10th, we're going to put every episode of the docuseries on YouTube. What's the docuseries? Great question. It takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of overcoming what feel like insurmountable problems to be able to make a series like this in the amount of time that we had to make it. Fortunately, we were rolling cameras the whole time, so we put all that footage together and we are telling the story of how we made the series. It's its own standalone series. It's called A Week Away, the docu-series, and we hope that you enjoy it. I know I would really like it as a filmmaker, and it's interesting to me. Maybe it's interesting to you. So if you love the series, I think you'll enjoy seeing how we brought it together. If you love just watching how creativity happens, I think you'll enjoy watching the docu-series as well. And starting on Wednesday, December the 10th, we're putting that on YouTube, 1 episode a week. Watch it there, like, comment, subscribe, because we're gonna have more episodes coming every week. Tell all your family, tell all your friends, tell the strangers on the street, watch it 17,000 times yourself. You understand, you get it, you know the assignment. All right, well, I'll see you guys over there. Peace.